Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are tearing into a collection of source material that is as stark as it is, well, surgically precise. We've compiled these insights from a deep review of a text dubbed The Bible of Aphorisms, Volume 2, specifically focusing on a chapter subtitled Continued Arson of the Obvious.
Yeah, and this is not a comfortable read, but it's an essential one, I think, for anyone really trying to navigate the 21st century.
It really is.
This material, it takes these complex, really multi-layered contradictions across modern life, from, architecture to dating apps, from how we work to how we think, and it just distills them into single devastating sentences.
So our mission today is pretty straightforward. We're here to unpack these contradictions that once you see them, you really can't unsee them.
Right.
And what this source material does so brilliantly is it just strips away the assumption that systems fail because of, simple incompetence.
Or malice, even.
Or malice, yeah. Instead, it argues that these massive systems, healthcare, technology, finance, are often perfectly optimized.
Perfectly. But for outcomes that are rarely our well-being or, our happiness, that's the core thesis we really need to hold on to.
Yeah.
The material has this brutal analytic honesty. It challenges that cultural bias we all have toward optimism and forces you to look at the structural incentives at play.
And that analysis begins somewhere unexpected, not with economics, but with something fundamental to how we think, the concept of nuance itself. Okay, so let's unpack this initial theme on being the bridge. The source material suggests that trying to maintain a balanced, informed position between these opposing, highly energized viewpoints, it's not just difficult.
No, it's actually dangerous and isolating.
How so?
Well, it immediately describes the middle position not as neutral ground, but as the loneliest battlefield, shot at from both trenches.
Wow.
So if you're the person who tries to explain, say, the validity of a scientific process to someone who's steeped in mystic beliefs, or even vice versa,
You're in trouble.
You're in big trouble. The source observes that both call you a traitor for acknowledging the other exists.
That lands hard. It uses this fantastic physical metaphor. The bridge gets walked on by both sides and blamed for not being either shore.
Exactly. And if you dig into why this happens, the source is clear.
What's the problem?
The underlying problem is that people don't want true understanding. They want simple ammunition.
They're looking for a spy, not a diplomat.
A spy, not a diplomat. Perfect. It reveals this fundamental flaw in modern discourse. If you offer a nuanced perspective, you're not seen as a valuable synthesizer. You're just seen as an ineffective partisan. You're diluting the message.
Because nuance requires work and uncertainty.
And that connects directly to the second insight on this theme, conspiracy theories.
This is where it gets really analytical.
It does. The text suggests that the conspiracy theorists and the genuine scientist are, at their core, doing the same thing.
Which is what?
They both look for hidden causes.
That's a powerful parallel. But it feels risky, doesn't it? I mean, aren't we sort of lending credibility to the conspiracy theorists' approach there?
It's a great question. But the source isn't validating the content of the conspiracy. It's validating the psychological necessity for it. The deeper truth the source exposes is that chaos is more terrifying than conspiracy.
Because if the world is just random and messy and unjust, that's paralyzing.
It's paralyzing. We need to believe someone or some group is driving this shit show.
So the preference for a conspiracy theory isn't really about hating a specific government. It's about hating the crushing reality of randomness.
Precisely. If there's an enemy, you can fight it. If there's only chaos, you're helpless. And then the sources drive this point home with a crucial observation.
What's that?
The real conspiracy is often just incompetence, not coordination.
But that's too boring to believe.
It's too boring to believe. Certainty, even false certainty, is a highly addictive commodity.
That need for certainty and control, it moves us from ideology right into economics. Let's dive into the medical-industrial complex.
Okay. The critique here is completely focused on the system's structural incentives. The core aphorism is unforgettable.
Let's hear it.
Healthcare became health don't care when treatment got more profitable than cure.
Wow. That is a painful truth because it means the whole system is designed to make you a recurring customer.
Not a former patient. That's the structural reality. The source material notes that the chronic condition is just a business model dressed up as a diagnosis.
So if your symptoms are managed with ongoing medication, you stay profitable.
You remain a profitable data point. The system is designed to stabilize you, but not necessarily to eliminate the root cause, which, as the text dryly notes, pays rent in your body indefinitely.
And what does that mean for the doctor, the person actually trying to help us?
The human factor gets annihilated. I mean, the source points out that doctors often given 7 minutes to solve what took decades of structural and lifestyle breakage to accumulate.
And in that rush, the system defaults to treating the lab results, not the human attached to them.
No time for deep diagnosis, just time for prescriptions.
And it doesn't spare mental health, does it?
No, the observation on mental health is maybe the most structurally cynical. It summarizes modern treatment as, here's a pill for your despair about living in a despair-generating system.
It's just brutal. It's a reminder that sometimes the source of our distress is the environment we're forced to live in, and the system just offers chemical management
Instead of structural reform.
So let's take that same critique and apply it to work and money, because the source is equally brutal here.
The system, again, optimizes for its own survival. It needs productive units. The source states it bluntly. Work is what you do to afford the life you're too tired from work to live.
That's the ultimate paradox. We exhaust ourselves to afford the recovery needed to repeat the cycle.
And it just tackles those aspirational lies we all buy into, that hustle culture.
Right. Do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
A lie. A lie told by those who successfully monetize their hobbies and now hate them because they're beholden to production quotas.
The system sold us this narrative that hard work equals wealth.
And the brutal truth, according to this text, hard work equals tired.
And the ultimate policy critique comes down to the concentration of wealth, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It calls billionaires a policy failure, not a success story.
The idea being that such extreme wealth isn't generated by superior effort, it's extracted.
Extracted through structural mechanisms, tax codes, policy choices that prioritize capital over people. It's a fundamental systemic failure.
Let's pivot now to how our physical and digital environments are designed to manage our consciousness, starting with architecture and spaces.
The premise here is that the spaces we inhabit, they shape our behavior and our self-perception profoundly.
How so?
Well, look at corporate architecture. The design is a message. It says, you are small, replaceable, and we own the light.
And the cubicle that gave the illusion of privacy while maintaining total surveillance?
It's the perfect physical manifestation of that compromise you make for a job. And you see this control in urban planning, too. Cities are optimized for cars.
So humans feel like obstacles.
Obstacles, or necessary inconveniences. You wonder why city life feels stressful. But the infrastructure itself prioritizes the flow of cars over the human experience.
Then you have the irony of improving a space only to destroy what made it valuable.
Gentrification. The source has this brutal, honest definition.
Which is?
It's when the neighborhood gets nice enough that the people who made it interesting, the artists, the small businesses, the cultural drivers, can no longer afford to stay.
The system consumes the very culture it sought to elevate.
Exactly.
Now let's jump to the digital space. The streaming wars and attention economy. It's the same control mechanism, just virtual.
And maybe even more effective. Streaming platforms promise to let us watch what you want when you want, and ended up becoming
Cable with better UI.
Cable with better UI. Because now you need 5, 6, 7 different services to access everything, and we've just reinvented the high cost of the old cable bundle.
And we're not watching cinema anymore. We're consuming content units designed for maximum retention, minimum depth.
It's engineered viewing. And the algorithm's truth is so cynical because it's based on observable behavior. The text concludes, the algorithm learned you finish trash more often than quality, so trash is what you get.
Why? Why do we do that?
Because quality requires cognitive investment. Attention. Commodities we're often too tired from work to provide. Trash is easy to complete. It gives the system high engagement data.
And the source doesn't frame binge watching as a feature, it calls it a symptom.
A symptom of avoidance. It's a consumption pattern the platform benefits from, keeping you captive in a comfortable, low-effort loop. Your attention is fully managed.
That idea of comfortable avoidance, it brings us to our final segment where we turn the critical eye inward. Let's start with dating apps and intimacy.
This is, I think, the most painful sector for a lot of people. The sources suggest that dating apps turned romance into a consumer catalog.
Everyone feels like merchandise.
Your worth is reduced to a photo and a bio written to pass a 3-second swipe test.
And the marketplace model has that massive flaw, the paradox of choice. If there's always someone potentially better one swipe away, why would you ever commit?
That's the mechanism of engagement. The sources state, unlimited options create decision paralysis disguised as high standards.
We tell ourselves we're being selective, but we're just overwhelmed.
And crucially, The system is designed to fail at its stated goal.
What do you mean?
Successful relationships delete the app. That's bad for business. The incentive is perpetual search, not lasting connection.
And connecting this structural avoidance to addiction, the source gives a really powerful core definition.
Yes. Addiction is defined simply as when the solution to your problem becomes the problem.
So whatever you used to cope with pain or stress is now the thing creating new pain and stress.
Exactly. It's not about the chemical, it's about what you're avoiding, the avoidance of now. And the source provides a powerful pivot on what the opposite of addiction is.
It's not sobriety.
No, the opposite of addiction isn't sobriety, it's connection. But connection's terrifying, so we stay addicted.
And this is the ultimate systemic blind spot, isn't it? We can talk about some dependencies, but social media addiction gets a pass.
It gets ignored because, as the text notes, the dealers are Fortune 500 companies. It's an acceptable addiction because of who profits from our avoidance.
Finally, we turn to maybe the deepest self-deception of all, memory. We organize our entire lives based on it, but the source material casts serious doubt on its veracity.
It's not a recorder. It's fiction based on a true story. The brain, the source notes, is an editor with an agenda and poor fact-checking.
So it doesn't capture the past, it just constantly re-edits it to serve the narrative you need right now.
Which means we're constantly lying to ourselves, particularly when we invoke nostalgia.
Which is memory with all the bad parts removed.
It's why the past always looks better than it actually was. Our memory systems are designed to craft a coherent, acceptable story that preserves our ego, not record objective fact.
So we've done a deep dive into the continued arson of the obvious. We've seen contradictions across the board. Systems that promise community and health are often the ones delivering profit and isolation.
Yeah, the common thread in all these aphorisms is that difference between what we want to believe, that certainty and simple meaning exist, and the messy reality, where structural incentives drive outcomes we dislike.
The sources force you to confront that things are often systematically broken, not accidentally broken.
They are optimized failures.
We'll close this deep dive with the source material's perspective on meaning. We've seen how systems of work, relationships, even memory are constantly shaping our reality, and the sources stress the difference between finding meaning and making meaning.
The text observes that you create meaning through action. Then, over time, you forget you created it. You start to think you just discovered it, as if it were always there.
And that raises a really important provocative question for you, the learner, to consider as we wrap up.
If meaning is not found, but is instead actively made, what is the first small action you will take now to actively construct the story you want to live, instead of simply consuming the one that has been handed to you? Think about that.